Welcome to the Dark Match Podcast. Here's your host, Matt Barger and Pat Carney.
So, another weekend, another ambulance trip for a guest at the wedding I was working at.
Oh, jeez, what happened now?
Groomsman cracked his head on the ground. I wasn't there. I was inside. It happened outside. It was a venue where you could be in and out. So they were outside drinking, I'm guessing, and they said he lost his footing and he cracked his head open.
Oh, he lost his footing. A little bit more than that. So just cracked his head open.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It was funny. The guy that was doing videography comes up and shows me a picture of an ambulance. I go, "What's that?" And he goes, "Outside." I go, "Dude, that's the second ambulance at a wedding."
In a month.
Yeah,
in a month.
Yeah, in a month.
You're bad luck, man. If I was getting married, you're not invited to my wedding.
Dude, I'm getting married.
I know. I'm going to your wedding. Like, yeah. I'm knocking on wood for you right now.
I'm actually thinking about putting bubble wrap underneath my suit just to be safe.
I'll get you a helmet. Did you end up going to any wrestling shows this weekend?
No, I was going to go to AIW on Friday, and I ended up having to go to work. And I guess I wasn't the only one that wasn't able to go to AIW on Friday. Grado was supposed to be there, but he ended up having a loss. Someone passed away in his family, so
oh, geez.
Our condolences go out to Grado and his family. I'm not sure who it was, but enough to pull him away from an event. So
yeah, I can only imagine. So our heartfelt condolences do go out to his family. Did they have someone step in for him or no?
Yeah, they had MJF stepped in and pretty much tore the house down from what I heard. So.
From what I heard, it was a fantastic event. Yeah. Sold out there in Mentor on the Lake too. And did you hear about the other great event this weekend? A little bit farther away from us.
Yeah.
It was the talk of Twitter all weekend. It was Evolve. I would love to get away for a weekend to go to wrestling shows and just travel from wrestling show to wrestling show. There was a video that came out online during the event on Saturday. The fire alarm went off.
That's crazy.
No one moved. Normally it's like a holy crap, let's get outside. No, these fans literally sat there and just chanted "burn it down" over and over again.
I wonder who pulled the alarm.
I don't know what happened. Maybe Joey Janela was in the back just chiefing away cigarettes. Who knows? And he set off the fire alarm or something.
Smoking a whole pack at one
time.
Yeah.
Well, he had a big night though. I mean, it was probably a pre-celebration. He is now the new WWN champion. Ended up beating Austin Theory, but not only is he the new champion, but that was his debut as well.
First match, new belt. I mean, that's
new
pretty
accessory
sweet.
Right there. So congratulations going out to bad boy Joey Janela.
And then did you hear about who just showed up out of the blue?
I did.
Adam Cole, baby!
Oh, yeah. It took on Walter, too. So that was a huge talk as well. But I don't mean to backtrack, but you had brought up how you were going to go to AIW. Yeah. Fortunate news, and it happens all the time, but it really sucks when it's someone that you grew up with. Unfortunately, we lost a great member of the Attitude Era and also WCW New Japan as well. So
yeah, Big Van Vader, man. Yeah. I mean, I heard one way it was described as a trailblazer, and I think that's probably one of the best ways to describe that guy because, I mean, think about how big he was and the moves that he would do. I mean, that dude would do moonsault off the top rope, and he was 300 pounds easy.
Plus.
Easy 300 pounds.
Easily 300 pounds. Moonsault. Yeah, one of the earliest memories that I have, and you mentioned that he was a trailblazer. I truly believe it. And I know I've mentioned this numerous times before. Like, I really wasn't allowed to watch wrestling until after Vader was out of the WWE.
Yeah.
WWF at the time. I got my first exposure to him on Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
So, and some great episodes, too. Like, my wife and I were just watching on Hulu the other day, too, and just laughing away. I'm like, I want to kind of fast forward to the Vader episode. Yeah. Because it was just, here's this big-ass guy that's coming through. Like, oh, well, I'm a professional wrestler. You don't think about him being an actual wrestler. You just think he's an actor.
Yep. Have you ever watched any of his matches now on WWE Network at all? Have you seen where like he used to come out with that like mask? It was a metal mask, and he would set it down, and like smoke would come out of it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That thing was amazing. Like he'd set it in the middle of the aisle after he'd come down, and it would just, for some reason, when I was a kid, that was like the coolest thing in the world to me. I mean, his rivalry that he had with Sting was amazing when he won the championship.
When he knocked out Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
Like literally told him like, you need to back off. Like you're being a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't listening. Just out of nowhere, he just levels him.
Yeah.
Just takes out Ken Shamrock out of nowhere, too. So.
Well, another good one last story. When he was inducting Stan Hansen into the WWE Hall of Fame, and he talked about how he had gotten his eyeball knocked out in a match and fought the rest of the match with his eyeball on his cheek.
Yeah, I saw that video. Can't do it. Like, looking down at your foot and then looking forward at the same. That is a badass. So our condolences go out to the family of Big Van Vader.
Leon White's family.
So it's unfortunate when we have to say goodbye to a trailblazer. But moving on, I know we kind of built this up and kind of left it off on a sour
Debbie Downers.
Yeah, we're Debbie Downers today, man.
Always sucks when people die. But the good thing is our interview that we've got today
is a reincarnation. Yeah. It's like a new birth. I mean, we've kept a big secret on this one.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy, again, I grew up watching wrestle.
I am so excited. I have his personal phone number. He's in my phone, too. We were texting earlier today, and I even made the comment to you, like, look, man, like, I can't believe I'm texting this guy right now. I don't think that there is anyone his age making the waves in independent wrestling like he is, let alone there's not many people that are the talk that he is, even being half of his age.
Yeah.
There are some great wrestlers out there. There's some great independent wrestlers. Not taking anything away. It's not a knock on anyone. For the age that he is, for the career that he's had, to literally just say, you know what, I'm going to put the boots back on and I'm just going to go back out there. And he is blowing up every single weekend. Like, I saw a tweet from somebody, I would love to give you a shout out right now, but he was like, to whom it may concern, now every independent show is currently booked by our guest. Signed, independent wrestling fans everywhere. But our guest today is none other than PCO.
Pierre Carl Ouellet.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. I don't even want to wait any longer. Let's just get right into this interview. So here is our exclusive interview with the hottest star in independent wrestling right now, PCO. Now we have PCO on the line right now, and you're making waves. It's safe to say that you are one of the hottest acts in independent wrestling right now.
From all over the world, basically, you know, as much as it is in Europe, Japan, or in the United States, or in Canada. I mean, it's pretty much like a story that, you know, if I could make a film, a true story film out of it, you know, that's pretty much the story that I would like to come out as. So it's hard to ask for more, you know, about life. You know, it's hard to, I mean, this is the most fun, and this is the run where I feel like I'm the most over as a wrestler, more over than Jean-Pierre Lafitte could have been, more over than Quebecer Pierre could have been, or more over the Quebecers, because it's just something organic, you know. It's one of those things that you cannot really plan, you know. It's just happening, you know. It's so great, you know. So that's the way I see it. I look at it.
Yeah, it's definitely organic, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Now, you got your start back in 1987, and you kind of touched on all the different places where you've been. You've obviously been in WWF at the time. You've been in WCW. You've been in TNA. You were in ECW as well. So all
Japan.
These New Japan as well. So, and you were actually over there with some people that we'll touch on down the road in this interview. But I kind of want to take it back to where it all started.
20 years or so, something like that, you know, because there's times where I remember when I was like with WWE, so we were working maybe twice a week, you know, and maybe sometimes 3 times a week. So it wasn't like a very hard. And then there was other times where, like, for a period of time, I was doing voiceovers for TNA and French back in Canada, and that lasted about like 4 to 5 years until I decided that I wanted to quit that job because I wanted to be in the ring. I didn't want to be like a color commentator or doing commentary. $50,000 a year and working 1 hour a week. And I was getting paid by one of the biggest TV stations, you know, here. I went to the producer and I told him that I wanted to go back in England and work for a few quits, you know, which is a few England pounds per night, just because I wanted to get back in the mix of pro wrestling because I felt that, the dream that I had when I was 14 years old was not accomplished yet. And I just decided that, I was going to quit that job and just keep on chasing, the dream. And he said, if you want, you can hold up the job for 3 months. So if it doesn't work there and you don't have a contract with WWE, you can always fall back on this job here. And I told that guy, I said, Robert, if I do that, it's because I don't believe in myself. And by doing so, it means that I think I'm not gonna achieve success. So just go ahead and hire someone else. And I just burned my boats. Not my bridges, but I burn my boats because it's like when you go to an island, burn your boats, there's no way back, all forward,
It goes back to the former story about burning the ships where troops stormed the island and the commander turned around, threw a pipe bomb on all the ships. His soldiers looked at everyone and said, "What are you doing? That's our only escape." And the commander looked at him and said, "We don't need an escape. We do not need an escape plan. We are buying on ourselves. I'm confident in you that this is going to be our new land. We are taking over. We don't need an escape plan. So now that you know that you have no out, put it all in."
That's it. That's what I did. Man,
I love that story.
Even if it didn't work out the way I planned it was going to work out, but it made me kept on going forward. Never looked back. I kept on pushing forward.
And you kind of broke into WWE, WWF at the time back in 1993, and you were a part of the Quebecers. You guys were 3-time tag team champions within the first year that you were in the company. You had beat the Steiner brothers. So they put a lot of stock in you when you first got into WWE, and little over that time, what necessarily escalated from there? Why they said, you know what, we really need to repackage you. We need to get you out of the Quebecers.
Yeah, it was a lot of things going on. It was the fact that Jacques said that he had received a promise from Vince that he was going to make $500,000 that year, and when you look at his numbers, the money wasn't there. Wasn't really happy with the way that our push was going. As far as we were like kind of a good tag team that could have like strong moves, but we were basically cowards. And it happens a lot, sometimes in WWE where they turn good characters into cowards, and they like that kind of heat, I guess. And at WrestleMania 10, we were supposed to have like a big win and a big 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring or something like that. And Jacques was never the guy to make waves about not doing jobs or anything like that. It would always be business, but if he wasn't happy about something, he was telling me, let's give our notice after WrestleMania. Let's go to WCW and just give them like 3 months notice so, they can beat us like for 3 months and then we'll just switch and we'll go to WCW. I didn't want to because all my life, I was dreaming about WWE. I mean, living up north and seen wrestling from Vince before I could see any AWA wrestling or NWA or WCW. I mean, I grew up with WWE. So
yeah, that was always the ultimate goal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to, start. It took me so much time before I got a good relationship with Vince McMahon, with all the executives at WWE. So I didn't want to kind of reprocess all that, those years and the time to, kind of friendly with booking staff and with the owner or the booker and things like that. And so the secretary, whatever, the whole staff, the TV crew, and all the people that you become like a family, and now you have to cut all those friendships and restart and reprocess to another company. So I decided that I was not gonna do it. So I stayed there and we did the Russo retirement match, and that was like a WrestleMania because the whole roster was on, and from Undertaker to Yokozuna to Double J to Razor Ramon to Bret and Owen Hart to all the feuds that were going on. They were like all working underneath us. Even Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash. I mean, the whole roster, all the big names, they were involved, and we were main eventing this event, and we had Steam coming in, and we really killed it. I mean, we really stole the show that night, and that I kind of made a statement because Vince was there live and Pat and all and Bruce Pritchard and everybody was there, and Jerry Briscoe, was like a 30-minute match long, and it was like a huge main event, and they kind of opened up their eyes saying, he can go in singles, like he can have a good single career. So that's when they repackaged me as Jean-Pierre Lafitte. But just before that, after we sold out the Forum in Montreal, we were supposed to go to the Olympic Stadium, and Bob Backlund was supposed to drop the strap on me for a couple of days.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was the plan, and that was dealt, between Jacques and Vince, and on many conversations, it wasn't like the era of the cell that much, but you could listen on another line just to make sure, like Jacques would tell me, just listen to my conversation so you'll be able to tell me, if I said that correctly or what he meant by that, or just to have another ear. So there's things that, kind of missed, your attention wasn't really there, and you focus more on certain things than others. So as a ear that was listening, I heard when Vince says, he said to Jacques, I can't go no more to the Olympic Stadium because I just lost Randy Savage to WCW. And he said, I don't think we got what it takes to put 70,000 people in the stadium. And Jacques went berserk. He went there's our hockey strike, there's baseball strike, we've got all the medias behind us, everything is started there. So if I'm not going with you, I'm going to go with Hulk. And then Vince said, well, you might be going with Hulk, but you can't go with Pierre Carl because I own Pierre Carl. So that.
Oh my gosh! So he kind of just put this stamp on you, saying no, he's my property.
Yeah, that's how it went. But I was kind of proud of that in a way that if he said that, it's because I meant something to him, even though if it sounds property or it sounds like an object or, it doesn't sound like a human being. To me, it sounded like he cares about my talent or he cares about, keeping me there. So
he knew your value.
That's how I took it.
He saw a future with you too, he obviously felt like he had more to do with you. And one of the rivalries that you had was actually in '95 with Bret Hart. And
absolutely,
that was a pretty good rivalry that you had. Could you tell us a little bit about how that was?
And that match at In Your House 3 that you had was the match of the night. Yeah. Even Dave Metzler, he even said that was the show saver.
Yeah, it was. The next day on Raw, it was another classic, epic match. And
you stole my next question.
That people don't know is that they made me work Bret so many times before those matches just to make sure that it was okay to have a feud with Bret. I worked him in Nashville, Tennessee during another In Your House. And we went on last match of the evening. We went dark, and I had to perform because that was my chance to prove that I could have that angle with Bret. So, and they did that in Nashville and did that somewhere else. And also I had another match with Undertaker in Poughkeepsie, New York, just before they got me started. So they wanted to make very, very sure that, they were doing the right thing with me. So, I had to go through a lot of tests before I was repackaged, and getting, because I got pushed for 8 months. I was undefeated. Me and Triple H were the two guys undefeated with the longest undefeated streak at the time.
Wow.
I think Tatanka had the longest one for 2 years, but we were both at 8 months, getting up almost to a year being undefeated. And sometimes I was on the road with Triple H, and he was like, we're gonna make some little bets on who's gonna have his shoulder laid on the ground for 3 seconds first, So we were just making little jokes about it. So he knew that, I was starting a feud with Bret, so he knew that he was probably going to win that bet. He was making fun of me. He says, you got Bret tonight, so I guess, I'm winning the bet. You're going to end up on the sharpshooter.
So just walked up to you and said, you're going down tonight, so I win the bet.
No,
I didn't see you tap, so I think you still won that match. I did not see you tap. I think that bet's still going. I think you should get in touch with Triple H. Like, I never tapped.
I mean, I never had any issue with Triple H, except that when I had my problems with Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels.
I was actually just going to ask about that. There was some heat with you and the Kliq backstage, and it was actually an incident in Montreal as well. And you had a run-in with the Kliq, and it caused a little bit of heat backstage. Can you tell us a little bit about that incident?
I'm going to straight it up. Like, I'm going to tell the whole thing. The thing is, like, when I had my meeting with Vince just before I started the Lafitte deal, he says, we're going to make some retention. Like, we're not going to have you in Montreal for 2-3 years. We'll keep you away so the fan will want you. They will want you. They will want you. And eventually we'll give you to the fans back here, back home. But my character hadn't been started yet. It was just like when they scrapped the whole stadium thing with Bob Backlund dropping the belt to me. I was supposed to, take sometimes to grow my hair and grow my beard. Maybe let some time go by, 2-3 months. I was still on the payroll. I was still getting paid, and I was going to start back in February or March. I was aiming for January, but it actually was like the 2nd of March, 95. So, anyways. At the end of 94, I guess it was November, Vince himself called me from his Learjet, and he says, Carl, he was calling me a little short name. I said, Carl, could you help me out for the next show in Montreal in November? I said, of course I can help you out. What can I do? I said, RRS just got injured, and I need a replacement that, people are not going to complain about who's going to take place, so a good replacement. So he said, by putting your name there, and it's in my main event against Shawn Michaels, I think, that's going to help the show. So
you in Montreal, the fans are going to be happy.
Yeah, so from just, still being in touch with Jacques, but Jacques had this big falling out with Vince, and now he gave his notice, and I stayed by myself. And then they asked me to do the favor to Shawn, and I just, called Jacques to see what was his take on that. And he said, if you do that, your career is over, it's finished. I can never make you the champion that I said that I was gonna be doing with you, I'll never be able to do it. So I kind of got warmed up, and when you're 24, 25 years old, it's hard to, on a big decision like that, it's hard to make, a decision. So I went off and I tell Shawn about how I felt, but I didn't really say, I said I didn't want to put him over, so that pissed him off a lot. He said, 30 guys just put me over in a Royal Rumble, and you fucking want to put me over here because you're in your hometown? What the fuck's wrong with you? So I kind of let it sink in, and I thought, maybe he's got a point. So it was no big deal because I was starting a fresh new gimmick after that. So it didn't make that much waves with Vince or the office because they pushed me right after that, and me and Shawn had a hell of a match. It was a crazy match. I mean, Shawn really worked hard, like he always does. Like he always wants to steal the show and calling himself the showstopper and things like that. So he really worked his ass off, and I felt like we really had a tremendous match, and we had a hell of a finish too, like when he beat me and everything. And then for me, that thing was there. It was finished, and then I started my Lafitte character, and then I'm going over for 8 months, I'm beating guys on TVs and some middle name guys and things like that, and things are going well. And so eventually, like after 6-7 months, Nash came up to me and he goes, October 15th, me and you, big boot, jackknife, 1, 2, 3. And we used to get the finish only the night of the show. I was like, what the hell? How come he's giving me the finish like so much ahead of time? It's just, it's not the fact that I didn't want to lose against something like that.
He was belittling you almost.
Or like who was really making the calls.
I was really going nuts and crazy about it. I got really, really pumped over it. And I let everything go. And when the night of the show happened, Tony Garea came to me probably 5 p.m. and he said 4 or 5 p.m. like early in the afternoon. He said, "Well, if you big Kev tonight, big boot jackknife, 10, 12 minutes," and I went totally nuts. I said, "No way."
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. Not because I wanted to go against the office. It was just one of those deals where I felt like I was getting controlled by the Kliq, and I just hated it, and the atmosphere was pretty tough with the Kliq there too, like they were running a lot of things, and they had a lot of saves, and they had pretty much all the belts within NDEMs, like I think Sean was the IC champ, Kevin was the world champ. If it wasn't Sean, then it was Razor who had the IC. So, the belts were switching between the Kliq, and so I just decided that I was going to go home and not to work the main event, and they didn't want that to happen. So we went and did the double count out. So I don't have to tell you that it was sold out at the curtain for the boys. Everybody was expecting a big fight, and even Sean came up to me earlier on that night and wanted to swing the IC belt at me, and I told him, "If you miss me, I'm going to kill you, man. Don't miss me." So he didn't swing. Wow. And, that, it was a pretty bad atmosphere. It was really, 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 like, tension at its highest, and you could cut it with a knife. I would have hoped just to find out the day of the show, or just national. What do you want to do in Montreal? Maybe we can end it up with the big boot and something. But it was just the way, the approach was so arrogant. If the approach would have been friendly and like we want you to tear up the house there, and then I'm gonna, at the end, I'll cut you with the big boot jackknife or something like that. Just
give you a half an hour.
Just not be a dick about it.
Just like me and Brett, basically. It's not that I expected to beat Brett that much. It's just that the fact that when I was sitting down with him, he was so like business with me, the way that he would explain things, even though that he would finish me up with his sharpshooter or something. The way he was laying down the match, and he was giving me his phone number at his house so I could call him and think of some spots and things like that. That was for pay-per-views, though. It wasn't for house shows. But, just a little bit of courtesy instead of an arrogance would have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, treat you like a human.
I realized that I'm the one who started the whole thing, though, So I can, for a while, I hated like everybody and everything. And at one point of my life, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, "Hey, wait a minute. That's not Sean's fault. That's not Razor's fault. That's not Kevin's fault. That's not Vince's fault. All of this is my fault. I created all of this. So I create all of this, so I have to, turn the page, and make sure I don't do those same mistakes again, and just walk on from that. From that point on, you can't go back in the past. If you hold them against everybody, it's because you haven't done a good job at looking at yourself in the mirror."
In your defense, at your age, I mean, you didn't have many people. You had Jacques, who was pretty much your go-to guy, who is now not working with the WWE at the time. He was bitter at the WWE. You're calling him for advice because it seems like that was your go-to guy, and then he gives you advice because you said 24, 25, and maybe wasn't the best advice, probably because he's a little bit salty still about what happened, and then it ends up biting you in the butt in the end.
But I can't blame it on Jacques because he was looking at his side of the story, what was good for himself. So the fact of the matter is, like, I didn't have nobody to call really to make sure I was going to make the right decision.
Exactly.
I had to, concentrate and make that own decision myself, which is sometimes, as a pro wrestler or as any other athletes in any sports, you can have an agent, you can have a parent, you can have the children, you can ask the whole neighborhood what you think about a certain decision, but it comes down to you at the end of the day, at the end of the moment, you're the one in charge. So even though like you've heard something from someone and you heard something from someone else, you have to be able to just, take full responsibility for your own action. You can't blame nobody else.
So, Matt, you're a huge sports fan, right?
Huge.
You're constantly listening to sports talk radio, going online, checking the latest rumors, just getting up-to-date information on the world of sports and entertainment, correct?
Always. That's the only way that I can keep up with what's going on.
Yeah, you're talking with your friends. They're talking about a story you don't know anything about, and you're left in the dark, and you sound like an idiot trying to keep up, just making up stories. But is there anything worse than trying to get your sports and entertainment coverage, and more than half of the pages you're clicking on are just ads? They're sending you to spam sites. You try to click the X and accidentally hit another ad. You wind up in the bane of the internet, just going from troll to troll, site to site with no end in sight. That stops now with that'smy216.com. No spam ads, no clickbait, just the content that you're looking for and you love. That'smy216.com has the latest on the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland Indians, and yes, the latest in the world of sports and entertainment and pro wrestling all across the world. You're not going to be upset. I mean, you're going to leave saying that's how the internet should be in the sports world. They're changing the game on how we talk about the game. That's my216.com. Once again, that's my216.com, the exclusive sponsor of the Dark Match podcast.
Yeah, and then I decided to let my contract roll and come back. And that's when I went to WCW with Jock. And then it was from there, it was always like bad timings. Every time I would go to a place, it was not the place to be for me.
Mm-hmm. So, and you kind of bounced around quite a bit. You went from WCW, you had a feud with Harlem Heat. You were a part of Arn Anderson's last match ever. And it was kind of short-lived with WCW, but then you found your way back to WWE. When you returned, and that was around the time that the Kliq had kind of disbanded. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were in WCW.
Yeah, it was towards the end. I think they kind of, but Sean was still there, Paul was still there, X-Pac, some of the guys. I think X-Pac left. I'm not sure.
He was bouncing around for a while there between WCW and WWE. If you remember, he did a whole 6 thing, and then he came back over and did DX again, and then he was there for a while just in different roles.
Yeah, and when we started in '98, we never had like when we were the ring. We never had that same reaction. The hated, like the people hated us from the first run as the Quebecers, and then when we came back as the Quebecers in '98, it wasn't there, you know, like things weren't clicking that much. And after 5-6 months, we parts of big plans, you know, we started pretty good for the first 4 or 5 months, and then after 6 months, then everything started to go like pretty bad. And at the end of '98, they released Jock. They kept me for '98 for another year, and so '99 to 2000, and then they were supposed to do a bunch of things with me that never came through.
What kind of things are you talking about?
Vince got a great idea for you. Next Monday, you're going to fight Steve Williams at Brawl for All. so that was one. It's just the way they sold it to me. It was like a big deal. Vince had a great idea for you. You know, you're going to fight for real. Dr. Death, Steve Williams. And so it was all the Brawl for All things. They kind of gave me a week notice. It's like, you know, I wasn't like really trained for that type of match and everything. So anyway, I did pretty good. You know, I went the distance with Dr. Depp, but he beat me on points or something like that. It didn't knock me out or anything like that. It was like it was a good, solid match. And he tried, you know, like to send Hawk to me of the Road Warriors, and Hawk says, you know, Steve is pretty crazy, man. He's gonna hurt you out there. So he goes, if you want, as soon as he tagged you, you know, just lay down there and just pick up your $5 grand. And are you crazy, Mike? Go back to Steve and tell him he's in for the fight of his life. I'm gonna kick his fucking ass, man. Tell him that. I don't give a shit about Steve Williams, Dr. Death. Yeah. So I went fucking nuts, and you know, and it was just like, you know, being there on a week notice. Steve knew like 3 months ahead of time that he was supposed to win the whole thing. So they wanted to make it a shoot tournament, but they were giving some guys workouts ahead of time, so they wanted Steve Williams to win the whole did the whole thing and looked like, a badass.
And then Bart Gunn ended up beating the shit out of everybody instead. Every guy he faced.
Well, the thing is, the match was very, very close. I mean, Steve Williams was over the whole match. I've watched it so many times. I mean, it was like 12 seconds to go. Steve Williams was way over on the points and on everything, and Bart just came out with a solid left hook, knocked Steve out, and he tore his legs, both of his muscle on his legs, broke his jaw.
Wow.
A few things, probably broke his jaw, tore his both arm strings, and ended up like being solidly injured at the hospital.
Sounds like his name was Dr. Bill Steve Williams at that point.
Yeah. I mean, kind of killed his gimmick.
Well, on the bright side, if you look at the end result, Bart Gunn went on to fight Butterbean at WrestleMania 15 and got the shit kicked out of him. So I think you kind of lucked out on that one, BCO.
Nothing made sense for this tournament. I mean, they were so hyped up on Bart, they thought he could beat Mike Tyson. Legitimately.
Yeah.
Legitimately. They really thought Bart Gunn had a chance.
Like the whole time. Like they were just like, oh, Butterbean doesn't stand a chance. Butterbean hit him like twice.
Yeah, the vibe was, Bart's going to kill Butterbean and we'll ask for Mike Tyson.
oh man, that's funny.
And you had, like, just before my fight, you had, like, the coach of the Oakland Raiders saying, Dr. Dan, he played for me. You're going to have to kill him to get him out of that ring because I saw him. He had 100 stitches on his forehead, and he put his helmet back on. He went back on the line, and that's a killer. That's a monster. That's Dr. That's my guy. Nobody's going to. So, the hype was all about, him being so
Bart Gunn took him out.
But just because you have 100 stitches in your head and you put a helmet back on doesn't make you the world's greatest boxer.
No.
Yeah, that's it. It can be tough on the line. It could be a great line player. It doesn't mean you're going to be good at boxing or, any other thing. But he was also a All-American wrestler. So Bruce called me and he goes, I want you to have Vince wants you to have the blue trunk with the big fleur-de-lis on the back and the big cape and the blue boots and everything. So I got all my stuff ready during the week, really quickly. So by Friday, I was supposed to start on Raw. So by Friday, I said, I don't have my plane tickets yet. So I'm calling at the office Friday morning. I said, Bruce, I don't even have my plane tickets for Monday. He goes, that's been pushed back, so we're going to send you to Memphis instead. So that didn't work out either, and it was another gimmick too that I played and at the office. I did before I went to Memphis for I did 3 training camps with Dory Funk Jr. Because I was under getting paid every week, so they figured we're going to have him working and do something. So I did 3 in a row, and Dory really liked my promos. So I was very creative, and I came up with some good shit. And I remember he made a report saying hands down, Quebecer Pierre's the best promos of all the guys there, So, but nobody really paid attention to Dory, to his report or whatever he was saying, and they enjoyed all my promos, I guess, and so I remember Bruce was there. I think Vince was there one time. I think the last day of the last camp, everybody had to listen to our promos, and I came up with a great one, and I think the angle that I was shooting for, they kind of gave it to Undertaker and Stephanie. So they never really took an idea and properly not changing it a little bit and twisting it, but you can see the base, was coming from some of the promos that I had shot. It just,
So they would take your ideas and sprinkle a little Vince Russo on it, and then
we've never heard that before.
Yeah, kind of repackage the whole thing. Yeah.
We've never heard that before.
We haven't heard that recently.
No, I'm giving you some new stuff.
Oh, no, we've had numerous guests on that were previously in WWE.
Or their developmental
developmental that feed all these ideas. No, that's not going to work. And about 6 of them currently right now are being used all across the brand. So it's common that happens. They take your ideas, they won't even switch it, but they'll call it their own. So you kind of went from there. Obviously, you're in Memphis. You're pitching a lot of ideas. You're having some phenomenal promos, getting ideas from Dory. They weren't really listening to Dory. And that kind of built up from there. You left Memphis and you went into WCW, kind of had a short thing going with Lance Storm and Team Canada, and were actually awarded the WCW Hardcore Championship.
Yeah, but what happened as soon as I got there in the afternoon, I mean, I had met with Vince Russo somewhere in Tennessee while I was for pro wrestling, and I was staying with Sid at Sid's house, and Sid was a good friend of mine. So he arranged a meeting with me and Russo, and I always got along good with Vince Russo, and he always liked my work and everything. So Vince liked, what I was saying to him and everything, and he really wanted to start me up in the hardcore division because he knew I could go crazy and things like that. So, we had a good meetings, and he followed up on his words, and he called me back and started me up. But the thing is that as soon as I showed up there, the first guy that I was in front of that I met was Kevin Nash. And Kevin had a big say over the bookings, and I felt like the day that they decided that I was going to have the run with the belt, Kevin Nash decided that I was not going to have the run with that belt because, of the history of the past. Mm-hmm. So,
and you lost that belt later on that night too, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So basically, it wasn't much. It was just like, I guess, I've met Kevin so many times after that, and we had a lot of conversation. I never really asked him about that. So that's just me thinking that. But I just know one time I was watching WCW on TV from my house, and Kevin Nash was cutting a promo and was talking about myself, saying like, it was that one time that one guy in Montreal didn't want to do business with me, and whatever, I busted his head up or something like that. Just I figured maybe there's an angle for me there. He's gonna bring me in, but no, it was just to put himself over, I guess, back then. But no, I was just surprised that he was talking about that angle live on a live interview during WCW Nitro, and then I worked against him in 2009, and he did like have me kick out on his jackknife powerbomb, and I beat him with an armbar, and he tapped out. And that was like, I guess that was his way to reconciliation. I think that was nice. We had a long talk, and he taught me a lot about the business that night in 2009. So I learned a lot. Like he's telling me a lot of good things and good stories, and how we were all like younger and kind of stupid, when the whole thing happened, and like it's not like he apologized or anything, but it's just like we're able to have a beer together and have a good laugh and just say that's the past, and it's just
move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that really I was really happy about that match and that conversation and the whole night, basically, the way that things went. And then I had also like kind of buried the hatchet with Sean, because I had proposed a scenario to WWE for an angle between me and Sean, and I was supposed to give it to John Laurinaitis and over in England, and John wasn't there. He was supposed to be there. So I went to Sean and asked him if he could bring that up to the office, and he did, because they called me back for that angle and asked me, what I wanted to do and things like that. So, I mean, he was was really a man of his word. Like, even though Sean will always be Sean, but you could tell, like, he was way different than he was, I mean, he's just someone with so much confidence in himself, that it just transpires in his personality. But you could say, I could really tell that he was good-hearted, like he did that, like, just what I want to say, basically, that's like the whole born-again thing for a bunch of guys. It's just a way to look good. But for Shawn Michaels, it really changed himself. Like, it really made a lot of change in his life. So, and I can't say that's just an image revamping. It was really a new Shawn Michaels, basically. Not a new Shawn Michaels, but a better version of Shawn Michaels, if you will.
Absolutely.
So I was very, very, very surprised the way he was, handling the whole thing and the way he was talking to me. So I just feel now that, the whole thing with all those guys, it's totally behind me.
That's always good to hear, especially to hold grudges, especially after all these years, to know that hatchet has been buried. The resurgence of Shawn Michaels, where he kind of turned over a stone and is a completely different man, not necessarily in the ring, but outside of the ring. Having that rebirth of himself, and then also Kevin Nash giving you that nod, saying, you know what, let's let bygones be bygones. I'm going to put you over at this point. And it kind of goes back to our current topic, I believe, would be resurgences.
Well, which is we should put PCO over now.
Exactly. And I think he's doing just that by himself. He doesn't really need us.
No.
He really didn't need to call us.
No.
He's doing that all by himself all over Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you're making rounds. Now, after your time in WCW, you kind of made your rounds about independence. You went to TNA for a little bit as well. Went from independence to independence, a few international shows as well. But you really started making your resurgence and really grabbing some waves around about the end of 2016. You start putting out these videos with Destro, with a personal trainer that I personally need myself. And you're really catching everyone's attention, especially with these Quentin Tarantino-style promos that you're doing. But what kind of sparked this for you? What was the idea behind it? Are you going to give us the inside scoop of what to expect?
Yeah. At first, Destro is a guy who's like, he's the world champion that's having the greatest grip in the world. I mean, he's nobody can beat him, on different things with grips, like holding themselves on a quarter an inch blade on each side by the tip of their fingers, on rings, like small rings with just one finger on each side, holding your total body weight, and for like a minute, ripping decks of cards like apart like it was like piece of papers, and bending nails like big fucking nails, and a bunch of things, rolling fry pan, things like that. So I felt that in 2017 my career was getting ahead, and to get the extra edge, I needed to get a trainer like that to be even better and to work at different aspects of the game. I mean, the game of conditioning that people don't know about, because it's such a things that people don't realize. They think about a bench press, they think about a squats or leg extensions, leg curls. They think about those basic things, but Destro is just a genius. It's just like unbelievably like insanely intelligent. His IQ about health is like so far up there, like it's unbelievable. He trained guys from the NHL, that are having like not just regular success, but they're superstars in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And I felt if this guy can train me, I can do a lot more, and I can be a lot better. And you take the age factor too. So I asked him if he wanted to train me, and it took him a while before he said yes. I'm going to think about it. So it took a few days, and then he says, yes, come to the gym Monday, come to my house Monday, we'll train. We'll have our first training together. And then we started training together, and then I said, this is okay if my friend comes in, like just a cameraman that I know, and I'm going to shoot a few promos, because then I was working for a lot of indies. So he was like, okay, no problem, we'll do that, shoot that in the garage. So we're shooting promos, and he's watching my match, and he's listening to the promos, and he goes, something missing in your stuff. So he knows that I was going against Walter for NOLA on April, and that's about January, February, or March. I can't remember which one it was. And then he goes, no, I'm going to show you all, I'm going to train you, and I'm going to show you how to rip a deck of card, how to cut the deck. So we really work hard on my grip, like for months and months, so until I could, rip a deck of card and a half. And then
with your teeth.
That first vignette. No, the first one was straight up. We were playing cards, and he goes, cut the deck. So I picked up the whole deck. I cut it in half, and I said, is that cut enough for you? And
oh, my gosh.
So that was the first ever vignette that we did. That was before I did it with my teeth. I was doing it just with my bare hands.
Wow.
And we're just playing poker. Like, he's in front of me with his sunglasses, and then he goes, cut the deck. So I picks up all the cards, and I just ripped the deck apart. Is that cut enough for you?
Oh, my God.
Then it started like that. But from that first vignette, we did the crossroads where, we're crossing roads. But people thought the crossroads was really the first video of all, but that's because, I lost track of him after a while when he gave me my rebirth,
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked him, I asked for my papers and everything, and then he gives me back my paper, and then I said, how old am I? He says, you're 35 forever.
I wish I could. I wish I could do that.
So that's why you saw, when he picks me up in the grave, it's in a cemetery, and
I can only imagine what people that drove by as you were filming this, as Destro is digging like a hole near a grave and pulling out like a sleeping bag that's supposed to be you. And, like, just the thought that they had, like, probably just doing double take, like, is that guy literally grave robbing right now in broad daylight?
Why? He looks like someone who just killed someone and put him in the hole instead of...
Like, his entire mouth is black. Like, it's like one of those, like...
Of course, that the cops, arrived there because people were coming to see their people, like they came to the cemetery with flowers, and then they saw us. So, and then they called the cops. So we had to explain to the cops that we're sorry, we're going to pay the fine for, digging in the hole there. And that, we're sorry about that. We're not going to do it again.
So these were running guns, right? You guys were running and gunning?
Yeah, we're just going to have to shoot, the rest of the video, and then we're just going to put the dirt back in there. We're sorry.
You got 50 hours of community service at the cemetery for it?
Oh, that was so crazy. I mean, we were so nervous, and we got caught. There was so many cars coming in with flowers for their people. So,
oh, man.
I mean.
But you have a plate full. And plenty of dates coming up and plenty of opportunities for individuals to see you. And if they're not following you on Twitter or on Instagram, that's where you're going to find all these videos. You are an avid tweeter. To say, is that what it is? Tweeter? Twatter?
Twatter. I don't think it's a twatter.
I don't know. I think
that would be a different industry if you're a twatter.
Yeah, a tweeter. You tweet a lot. So... But that's where you can see all of these videos. You can kind of piece them together as well, do your own little investigating to find out the order that it goes in before I'm sure the full video comes out and you're putting a lot of production into this. You have a plate full. Coming up soon, you have an opportunity at C4 Wrestling. You have a big opportunity.
Four-way.
It's a fatal four-way for the C4 Championship. It's yourself, Joey Janela, who is the new WWN champion, Teddy Hart, and the current C4 champion, a friend of the show. But I think we have a new friend of the show as well on PCO. Definitely a friend of the show at PCO. But Kobe Durst.
Yep.
So what can we expect out of that match there? And how do you feel about those?
I think Ali Yoeden page like tweeted on that. Like, you got the 4 craziest men in the business right now in the same ring. So it's like, what can you expect, other than explosions? Like, it's going to be totally insane. Like, Joey's fucking crazy. Kobe, Teddy Hart, myself, and I think that's, for the fans, like, that's the dream match right there. Like, you got like 4 of the most, craziest guy in the business right now, going at it full-fledged, so that's coming up this Friday, the 29th of June. So that's going to be something I'm really looking forward to, and that's going to be like very, very, because it's a madhouse there in C4. That's going to be crazy. So that's something I'm really looking forward to do. And I got a lot of focus also on other shows too, like the George and Ella loss in New York. I've got Matt Riddle, so that's something
that's going to be a fantastic match.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Riddle is.
People are really, really waiting for this match, for a long time to happen. And so
me too.
That's going to be that's going to be crazy. And I told everybody, the August 17th, PCO's coming into the ring with the new gear and a new song, and it's going to be like a new kind of an era again for PCO. Like, not just evolving the character, just stepping a notch up, so.
And then we have another exclusive exactly 1 week after your match with Matt Riddle on August 17th. We're actually breaking this news for the first time here today.
Yep.
And we got permission from a certain gentleman to bring this attention to everyone in the Cleveland area.
Just so we wouldn't get in trouble.
Exactly. PCO is coming to AIW. You're going to be in Cleveland on August 25th. So you heard it here first.
Pumped.
PCO is coming to Cleveland.
I'm pumped.
For AIW.
Yeah, and that's going to be almost a week right after the Georgia loss in New York. So, I mean, people will see will be able to see the new gear and the new song and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, if you can't make the trip to New York, here's your opportunity.
Yeah, but I know Cleveland's going to be insane, but, there's people that wrote me, that tweeted me that, they're flying off Los Angeles, off Seattle, to come to Georgia, loss in New York to see PCO. So that tells a lot about people, the way they like the character that much and the way they feel about it. So it's something, that I'm really, really proud of, like, the fact that the fans relate a lot to the character, the character. So, and I have sometimes people that are tweeting me like so many times a day, I love PCO more than I love myself. Things like that. So, it's so crazy, So thanks to all of them who tweeted that, who said that, who wrote that, who Facebook me this, and I just feel like, by doing like the resurrection of PCO, we were talking about, like digging the hole and everything and pulling me out of that hole and, putting the electricity on me. But, like subconsciously, like subliminal, on the subconscious where you don't think about it. People that are losing, a sister or a young children or a parent or a brother or a sister, sometimes, it's a kind of, for a split second, they don't realize it, but deep down in the emotions, like it gives them like, oh, I remember my brother, like just by saying PCO's resurrection, it brings a little like, spark into their lives. Yep. And also by doing what I'm doing, when nobody was expecting it and people are calling me maybe the God or the miracle or things like that, it's just that
yeah, and you're that happy release. Yeah. No, you're that happy release.
Sounds cliche, but that's why if I miss on a tweet to someone, I'm trying to respond to each and every one of them and I'm trying to be there for every one of them. And sometimes I have like people that they don't even expect it, and they say, "Oh, thank you so much for responding to my tweet," and things like that.
Myself
so
included.
Put a lot of hard work. Yeah,
it's the little things sometimes for people.
It's a retweet, it's a mention, or there's a lot of people that are going through certain things, and we can all relate. We all go through hard times. We have our ups and downs, but that's the one thing that wrestling kind of provides to people. Everyone has their own releases.
It's an outlet.
It's an outlet to get away and escape from the outside world and just kind of enjoy. And that's the one thing that my co-host and I have talked about with professional wrestling shows. You go to professional wrestling shows, you have bankers, you have
insurance
agents, you have
teachers,
laborers. The list goes on, and all these people come together for one reason alone. Have you ever gotten to a fight at a wrestling show?
No, but I have at a Browns game. Just joking.
Exactly.
I've seen them though, Browns games.
Yeah, they happen all the time. But do you see fights at wrestling shows? No.
Everybody's having fun.
The thing is, you go to a sporting event, and let's say that you're a Cleveland Browns fan, and someone is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You have that disagreement. You both hate each other. You want to fight. Someone's a PCO fan, and then someone's a Matt Riddle fan. Are they going to fight? Yeah. No. At the end, we're going to high five and say that was a phenomenal match.
Probably have a beer together.
Exactly.
Which is cool, too. And the fact that, like sometimes you still have a baby in the heel, or maybe you don't anymore because you have just like two guys that are fighting. But, it's a place where you can, get all your emotions, all your frustrations, everything that you went wrong or good throughout your week, you can express it there, and that's the place to do it. If in 1995 someone would have told me that in 2018 PCO would have been the wrestler of the year, I would fucking die, But that's life.
But that's true.
Why history is there to be changed. History is there to be created. It's you cannot count someone out, for good.
Never say never.
Never say never.
You don't know what people hold inside of them. You don't know how much that burning desire is strong, and
it's not bigger than anyone but yourself. I wish I had your energy that you have.
You think so?
I completely agree. I mean, you've got a couple years on me, to say the very least, and you're doing things that I probably couldn't even do 10 years ago. So
I got easily 10 years in front of me. Like by the way we work out, me and Destro, I don't need 10 years to accomplish what I want to accomplish, but if I wanted to, I can go like this for another 10.
Oh, it goes back to your original statement where you burn the ships. You got to bet on yourself. And here you are, let's bet on ourselves. If we don't bet on ourselves, we can never fail. If you put all your ducks in a row and, like you mentioned, burn the ships, how do you know?
Yep.
And that's what you've done your entire career, and you're still kicking after all these years. And obviously you have C4 coming up. You have AIW. You were the first entrant announced in the PWG Battle of Los Angeles as well. But my question for you is, and tonight, we have another exclusive?
Yeah.
We have an exclusive.
Do you have Twitter besides you somewhere?
I do.
Yep.
I think it came out already, SCI. I think I'm the 20 entrant for the SCI tournament in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Nice.
Oh, man. We're getting exclusive.
We've been in the studio, so we haven't been on social media. So
that's
outstanding. So 20th entrant in FCI. But my question, obviously, you're the 20th entrant in FCI. You were the number one entrant in PWG Battle of LA. You're coming to AIW. You're fighting for that title in C4 this weekend. But what's next for PCO?
I mean, like people now are throwing a lot of times. My name has been thrown for WrestleMania with Undertaker, with John Cena, with AJ Styles, with a bunch of WWE names. They did like WWE, they did something that they wanted to get Vader over because, rest in peace, Leon White, he passed away last week, or that
definitely
beginning of the week. Yeah, no, we're Monday, so last week. And they did like, okay, who's got the greatest moonsault in WWE? So that was a tribute. Basically, that was supposed to be a tribute to Vader, which a lot of people put his name down. But I've received so many tweets on PCO's got the best moonsault, WWE, or, whatever, if I was there or if I'm not there. But PCO Quebecer was tweeted so many times for moonsault. So, it's just that the fans, and then there was another tweet that the fans with PCO is so more over than Roman, which I don't take that
was my
personally
favorite
because I have all the respect in the world for Roman. I know it's tough. He's on a tough spot. I have tons of respect for him, but I'm just thinking the fans were saying that. It has nothing towards Roman because I have all the respect in the world for Fatu, Samu, all the Samoans and everything. They're so respected and everything. And I respect all of their kids and all the family and everything. But it's
a great
people
lineage.
pouring my names with other names. So with other names in the WWE. So it's not even me. Like sometimes, it's just happened. It's just people are starting to throw PCO here and there. And a lot of time they're going to tag, Triple H, they're going to tag WWE, and they're going to tag Vince McMahon. And I'm just saying they cannot miss that because, okay, it's a multi-billion-dollar company or whatever, and they are so all busy. But in the meantime, they have someone who's checking their Twitters and who's telling them, what's going on Twitter,
They probably have like 15 people that are currently in charge of their Twitter.
Yeah,
I've applied for their job
tweets.
with social media before, actually. I've applied for social media openings with WWE. I never get a call back.
I think I applied to be like a crew member or something.
I even went to school where we learned social media. I mean, it's like, man, you'd think they'd at least call me back. I've got some education in social media.
I can roll some wire like nobody's business.
But like I said, when you're looking at the future, what are you looking at? Of course. I mean, by telling you everything that I've told you, and by having the gimmicks that me and Destro, because one thing that you have to be accountable for, I mean, as far as I'm talking about, when you don't know yet, but whenever Destro's going to show up at a show, the price of the ticket himself, just the ticket itself, is going to be worth the 2 minutes you're going to see Destro there.
It's already worth it with you being there, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, no, but that's going to add so much more. That's gonna be like so insane because I just can see it in my mind how cool it's gonna be and everything that he can do. You've never seen a manager that can do things the way he does things. And I'm not talking about saying things or talking. I'm just saying about you have to see there live or on camera. Just you have to witness that once in your life.
It's just his presence.
It's just that we never know where he's going to show up and when he's going to show up. And he's not the kind of manager that's going to walk down the aisle with me. He's going to be appearing from somewhere, boom, 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 and he's going to do his things and he's going to be out of there. So
very mysterious.
That's a very mysterious, very never seen before in pro wrestling. And there's not two PCO and there's not two Destros. We're very so unique in the way we do our things that someone that would try to do something almost as what we do, I mean, the creativity wouldn't be there or the passion wouldn't transpire as much because we are both very, very extremist in what we do. We're going all out on everything that we do. So that's why I think, this is going to be like a multi-billion dollars like gimmicks. It's going to be insane.
I completely agree. And you have to keep an eye out, and obviously you need to follow PCO on Twitter if you want any of the happenings that's going on, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with PCO. If you can't be there in person, it's definitely an event you don't want to miss. PCO Quebecer, that's PCOQUEBECER. That's on Twitter. He's also on Facebook as well, on Instagram as well. You can follow along from this point on. Get up to date with all the videos that he's posting as well. If you're in the areas, if you're at AIW in Cleveland, you can catch him there on August 25th. If you are in New York on August 17th, and there's a multitude of different shows that you can catch him on. But hey,
thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, PCO, ladies and gentlemen. The talk of independent wrestling, and hopefully a friend of the show now. So definitely, don't be a stranger.
Of course, as a friend of the show, and also I want to thank all the followers, and for chanting PCO all over the world, and every state that I've been on, whether it's sports in Oregon or, Indiana, Cleveland, everywhere. Like the PCO chants are so crazy and loud, and the warm welcome and the Twitters and everything. Thank you guys so much for having me on your show. It's an opportunity for me. I really appreciate the fact that you had the idea of thinking about me and having me on your show, and very happy that we've done that together, and I'm really, really looking forward to see you in person, probably hair wrestling in Cleveland, Ohio.
Definitely.
Maybe August 25th.
Yep.
Maybe August 25th exactly. We'll see you. So PCO, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, I can't believe that interview just happened.
No, that was amazing.
I'm like on cloud 9 right now. That was outstanding. And we got the exclusive, literally allowed to break that news. I know it's not like astronomical or anything like that, but being told by the promoters, you know what, you can announce it on your show. When I had that conversation earlier today with John Thorne, no, go right ahead, announce it. I was like, okay, cool. PCO coming to Cleveland.
Yeah, we're going to have to try to make it to that one.
Oh, yeah. So August 25th, huge news right there. But other than that, phenomenal interview from start to finish. But let's not waste any time. Let's get into the 3 count.
Let's do it.
All right, so big story right now. I know you sent it to me. I had even posted online about it as well. Kind of a sketchy situation, to say the very least.
What's funny is we were going back and forth with all these stories that we were hearing throughout the week. Like, maybe it's this. Oh, he ripped the door off of the tour bus.
Yeah, like
all this stuff.
All this other shit.
He was drunk for a week. In European tour.
He could have been, though. But the big talk right now, Big Cass got released from WWE. But the story coming out now that there was an incident with Carmella, which I know you and I have had that conversation too. It's only a matter of time. They put them both on the same brand.
Yep.
And they say that they're still friends. She came on an interview, said, hey, we're still friends.
Ticking time bomb.
Exactly. You expect them not to have an altercation or a disagreement or an argument at some point.
Not those two personalities.
No. Like, you hear so many stories about them when they were in NXT. And the personalities that they have, very sweet, down-to-earth people. Here he is, and he's grabbing her by the arm to the point where the Usos have to jump in.
Yeah.
And an altercation unfolds. It kind of explains why WWE didn't say, hey, good luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah. We came to terms to release whatever his...
Bye-bye.
Yeah. That's it. Nothing like, usually it's like, we wish the best of luck to you in your future. Nothing. He's been released. Zilch.
Yeah, like cutting ties. And then Enzo coming out right afterwards, like, how you doing? It's like, you want to be a rap sensation?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not even, dude, every time I show that song to somebody, they thank me for it. Not because it's their new favorite song, but because it made them laugh so hard that they hadn't laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Enzo, I don't know. You played that song for me. I can't even tell you how many times.
Anytime I'm down, I just put Phoenix by Real One on. If you're ever in a bad mood or you just are feeling down, go ahead and put Real One in the search bar, Phoenix on YouTube, and it'll make you happy.
I am never that depressed. So let's move on to number 2. Number 2. So I know you're not on Instagram, but have you heard anything about what Ronda Rousey is doing right now?
Yeah, I heard a little bit because of what you've told me, and I've heard a couple other people talking to me about it too at work. So,
yeah, well,
give us the rundown of what's going on.
I love this. I literally love it. And the problem is there's so many topics this week. We might actually have to extend this 3 count.
The 5 count?
Like the 5, like the 10 count.
Yeah,
we can do it like a count out, 10 count. But we'll see how far we get. But right now, I got to talk about this story. My buddy Dave sent it to me, and I had already kind of caught on with it, but I wasn't really as big into it as it was at first. And then he pointed out to me, like, do you see, like, this trend that she's doing? She is literally getting over, for me, like, she grabs a mic, and you and I have had the conversation about Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
Don't put a mic in her hand.
Yeah.
Just like Ronda Rousey.
Just got to learn.
She scares the crap out of me. She could kick the crap out of me easily. Why you got to put a mic in her hand? Have her walk out, just like she did the night after Money in the Bank. Just walk out, don't say a freaking word, just death face, ready to kick some ass.
Kick some ass.
Don't put a mic in her hand.
Don't even take names. Just leave.
No, just kick some ass, put someone through a table, and walk out. That's all you got to do. But now she's on Instagram, and she's literally just posting picture after picture. She's just posting one a day, but she's posting like literal snippets of her kicking the crap out of Alexa Bliss. She got suspended for 30 days, and she's doing a countdown. Like, it's literally like 29 days, Alexa. 28 days, Alexa.
Well, I mean, we'll be at 23 today, right?
It's 23 today.
Yeah.
But the last 7 pictures she's posted are all of her kicking the crap out of Alexa Bliss. And it's putting me over like, oh my God, I can't wait until the clock hits 0. What's going to happen? Is she going to come out like during a house show and just beat the crap out of her? Is she going to save it for Raw? But it is by far one of the funniest things I followed. I get a good laugh out of it. Her face. There's so many parodies of like Alexa Bliss running away from Ronda Rousey that it's just this whirlwind of memes.
You should do the crying Jordan one. With
oh my! When she loses the title to Ronda Rousey, we'll do that. So moving on to number 3. Number 3.
All right. So Ring of Honor was supposed to have an event at Madison Square Garden, and they kind of had like a handshake, verbal agreement. Nothing was written down. But now they're saying that Vince McMahon talked to somebody at Madison Square Garden, and it's not happening.
Yeah, like he came in, like big guy in the fitness center, like, no, you're not doing that. Like, no, you can't play on that machine or something along those lines.
Yeah, it really grinds my gears.
It irks me. I mean, I understand why he did it. What aggravates me more than anything is because he knows that they're going to sell out. Yeah. He knows that, especially with the Sears Center, sold out in 29 minutes and 36 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's face it, WWE can't sell out anything.
No
matter if it's a pay-per-view, if it's even WrestleManias. WrestleManias aren't even selling out anymore.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is not selling out. NXT is selling out.
But NXT's got a good everything.
They're doing everything
They're doing it right. The way that WWE should be doing.
Like, let's face it, like there's 1 or 2 matches that we could do without, but NXT is doing it right. No event for WWE selling out. House shows are not selling out. There's events with Raw and SmackDown where they're asking people on the opposite side of the camera to go over on the other side to make it look more packed, and then they're just doing trickery with cameras to make it look more packed than it actually is. Like, what do you expect?
What's it going to hurt him if they have a good event there, though, is my question. Why not let somebody else have a good event there, so maybe then they'll be pumped to come to the next WWE event because that was a good show.
But they know it's not WWE.
I know, but I'm saying maybe it'll help boost the fans in the New York area to still come to the next WWE show because they saw a good Ring of Honor show. You know what I'm saying?
They saw a good Ring of Honor show. It doesn't mean that they're going to see a good WWE show. Well,
because they know they're not right now.
No, they're
some
not.
Some matches are going to be good, but the PG era is everything. Ever since the Attitude Era ended, it's just starting to go downhill. I mean, I understand.
You got stockholders.
Yeah, you got stockholders.
You got stockholders that you need to make happy. I understand that. You're a publicly traded company. You need to make everyone happy. Want to know what makes people happy?
Money.
Money. You make money. You make your stockholders freaking money. They don't give a shit what you're putting out there.
You think those stockholders are like, you know what? I'm going to buy this because I want children to be able to watch some good home, family-friendly wrestling.
No.
No, they're buying the stocks because They want to turn it into Benjamins.
Yes.
Lots of Benjamins.
I don't. If you could make me, if you could take my millions and make them billions, you think I'm gonna care if you're going out there busting somebody open? No. Make me money.
Do you know what I watch on the WWE Network 9 times out of 10 when I turn it on?
Probably something from the Attitude Era.
Not probably. It's something from the Attitude Era. No, so, I sometimes I like to just watch the 80s stuff because I like to enjoy the old moments from when I was a kid. I do. I love it. Yeah. I love the 80s stuff. I love the 90s stuff.
You want to relive your childhood.
I do.
But these stockholders don't give a shit. They are only in it for one reason and one reason alone, to make money. So going back to our original point, I understand why WWE did it.
Because they're scared.
They're absolutely scared. You have a Ring of Honor show that's going to come into Madison Square Garden, the arena that essentially was built by WWE, that is known for WWE, and now you're going to have a Ring of Honor show here, and they're going to sell it out. Something that all that Ring of Honor has to do is announce that they're having a show there. Don't even have to announce any matches. Don't even announce appearances. Who's going to be there? They'll sell it out.
Yep.
But WWE has to announce that John Cena is facing The Undertaker. Or, I'm sorry, it's Triple H versus The Undertaker.
Last match ever.
Yeah, no. Last match ever, 14. And that won't even sell it out.
No. Well, it will in Australia because they don't get events all the time. But that'll be why it'll sell it out.
Yeah, but you have to make that announcement. You have to bring back somebody for a one-time only event. But Ring of Honor, all they have to do is make an announcement that they're going to have an event at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, anywhere.
It
doesn't matter where it is.
And
they can have it in my grandma's garden, dude. And it's going to sell out.
Well, your grandma's garden's pretty small. So
that's not true, man.
I don't know. I've never seen your grandma's garden.
She doesn't even have one.
Whatever. But, I mean, why? Why?
Yeah.
You want to prove that you're the big dogs. You want to prove that you're the big company. Stop knocking out your competition.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing now, and this is the worst thing that WWE did. Want to know what you did?
Pissed off a lot of wrestlers.
No. You didn't piss off a lot of wrestlers. You pissed off a lot of wrestling fans.
Well, that too, but you took money out of a lot of people's pockets. Wrestlers' pockets that might be future guys.
But the arena across the street is going to look at them and say, just do it here.
I know.
They're going to have another arena.
But it's not Madison Square Garden.
It's not Madison Square Garden, but you know what? They're going to make a statement towards Madison Square Garden to say, well, why didn't you just stick up for him? Yep. It was money. You knew you could have sold it out.
Yeah.
What's he going to do now? You can't have this concert here because he's not a WWE Hall of Famer?
No.
But he's afraid of competition.
Yeah.
He knows that there's better products out there. He knows that there's products that are making more money, and he doesn't want them to prove it.
And I just don't understand it because this is the guy that beat everybody in the 90s. He beat the government. He beat WCW. He beat ECW. Why get scared now? Is it because he's old and
because he doesn't know what he's doing right now? He doesn't.
His writers suck.
That's why we talk about independent, because they're doing everything right.
They are.
There's wrestling promotions right now that are putting out better products. MLW being one. I mean, AIW.
Impact's getting better week to week. Impact is improving.
Exactly. It's stupid. They don't know what they're doing.
No.
So that's our weekly 3-count. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. That's going to do it for our 3-count. Our fantastic interview with PCO as well. Be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. We had a little bit of issues. Unfortunately, stupid me.
Gotta click the button, dude.
I'm sorry. I forgot to click the button saying that there was adult content. The person that was probably available that was doing the reviews probably listened to the first episode within the first 5 minutes, heard a shit bomb.
Hopefully they weren't listening to it with their kids.
I hope not. I don't think they would have, but if they were, I apologize in advance for my potty mouth. But
shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I accidentally forgot to click the button, so I had to go resubmit last night, and immediately as I clicked submit, they said that my artwork was no good.
I hated it.
So I had to go over to our graphic designer's house, and a 15-minute drive over there and in and out turned into like 3 hours. We just sat there, we talked. We haven't really seen each other for a while, but he is our graphic designer. Every single piece of artwork that you see, from every single picture for every single guest that we have to our logo, all across the board, anything that you see that has a Dark Match podcast on it is created by one man. That's Brandon.
Brandon is the man.
Brandon is awesome. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for doing all of our graphic design. be sure to go to his website, give him a follow as well. It's that'smy216.com. I can't plug that enough. He is the man. So thank you so much, Brandon. But be sure to follow us on Instagram. We are at the Dark Match Podcast. We're on Twitter at Dark Match PC, on Facebook
at the Dark Match Podcast as well.
Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube as well.
Yep.
You're listening to this video, so it's not that hard to click that subscribe button right now so you get all of our updates and up-to-date info on upcoming events and upcoming guests as well.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for tuning in here today as well.
Yeah, also I want to say on Apple Podcasts, make sure that you rate and subscribe us there too as well.
Yeah, if this is available, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts right now, be sure to subscribe to this video and also give us a rating as well. I'll give you a personal phone call, a personal shout-out for everyone that does leave us a cool review. Even if you leave us a bad review, I hope you don't, because enough bad ones, they take us off.
Constructive criticism.
We love criticism. We take it very well. We take it to heart. It only improves us. So if you feel like we're terrible, let us know. We'll do what we can to improve ourselves, or maybe we won't listen to you and we'll just keep doing what we're doing because, hey, we enjoy the hell out of this anyway.
And if you don't like the Dark Match Podcast, I got 2 words for you. Listen
Goodbye.
next time. That's 3 words. Listen next time.
You're right. That is 3 words. Okay. I had to count really quick. I had to use my toes, too.
Unless you combine next time into 1 word.
It might be. I don't know. I went to public school, so I don't know. But thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week.
Great episode. Boom.